Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by
Bell Tire.
Tonight, the Tigers are facing Indians fireballer Danny Salazar, but they've already beaten him twice this year, including putting up 7 runs the last time they faced him in the month of June. Tigers hoping for more of the same tonight. Great night for baseball. Game 2, Tigers and the Indians. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to Tigers Baseball. Mario and Pemba, Ron Allen. We are glad to have you with us here for Game 2 in the series. Tigers again trying to shake off a rough night at the ballpark. And pretty good customer or tough customer to face tonight at Danny Salazar, but they've had success against him.
You know, I've been told we're going to see a different Danny Salazar here this evening, not the one that tries to overpower the Tigers as he's done in the past, because that team has had success against him. I've heard he's going to use that splitter very early, and that will allow that 95-mile-per-hour fastball to possibly miss some bats.
Well, how about this Indians team? The last time we saw them right in the month of June, they really weren't all that good. But since the month of August, early on in August, they really kind of turned things around.
Well, this team plays very hard under their manager, Terry Francona. That's one team that never quits under their skipper. You take a look at their wins. This is since August 8th. Third in the AL, and up and down their ranks in the top 5 as far as runs per game, team ERA. That's why they are in the hunt right now as far as possibly winning a wild card. One thing they haven't been good at, that's playing within the division. They took a step forward in that direction last night by beating the Tigers. Hopefully the Tigers are able to win this ball game here this evening.
All right, Game 2 in the series just minutes away. After a short break, we send you back to the Call Sam Studios. Check in with Mickey York. Coming up in this one tonight, the top 2 hitters in the American League will square off. Miguel Cabrera, Michael Brantley. Game 2 coming up next. Tigers in Game 2 in the series. Alfredo Simon tonight, presented by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Alfredo comes in with 11 wins and 9 losses in 3 starts this year against Cleveland Indians. He is 3-0 with a 2.12 ERA. Fastball anywhere from 92 to 95, and of course a lot of split-fingered fastball usage for Simon.
And here is the lineup he will face tonight for the Indians, presented by the Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. It'll be Jason Kipnis leading it off as second base. .238 career against the Tigers. They've handled him pretty well. Lindor and Brantley. Middle of their lineup has Santana Chisenhall in right field tonight. Jerry Sands at first, and a bottom 3 of Almonte, Perez, and Urshela. We are ready for baseball here tonight. Another gorgeous night here in the Motor City. Jason Kipnis having a fine season, batting .313, 7 home runs. Although the Tigers kept him hitless last night, he was 0 for 5. First pitch of the ball game is up high from Alfredo Simon. Kipnis, then Lindor, and then Michael Brantley, top 3. Here's the 1-0 pitch, swing and a miss, 1 ball and 1 strike. Kipnis back in the month of June had a 20-game hitting streak. He was really hot in the middle of this season. And he slaps that one back out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Alfredo Simon trying to rebound after a couple of bumpy starts. He had a really good start 3 starts ago when he had that 1-hit shutout. James McCann behind the dish in this one tonight. The 1-2. Another foul back out of play as Kipnis protects.
Simon's got 4 different pitches. He's got a couple different fastballs. He's got the 4-seam fastball that will get up to about 95 miles an hour. He also cuts the fastball and sinks it at about 92. He also has the curveball. He has a slider, and of course he does use that split-fingered fastball just about as much as anybody in the game.
Strike called, and Kipnis is out of there for strike 3.
Outstanding fastball there by Simon at 93 at the bottom of the zone. If Simon works down here all night long, he's not going to get hurt at all. And Kipnis thought that ball was low, but apparently it crossed the plate right at the knees.
Not sure Hunter Wendelstedt knew that was strike 3. He called it as a normal strike. Anyway, 1 gone. Here's Francisco Lindor. The rookie had a nice night last night, couple of hits. Made a sparkling defensive play. Lindor had a double in last night's ball game.
Real nice two-way player is Lindor. There's really nothing that he cannot do on a baseball field. Good speed, good arm, nice athleticism at the shortstop position. He's a switch hitter with really nice hand-eye coordination as well. We've seen some really good shortstops already this year in the American League. That kid Carlos Correa is pretty good in Houston too.
The one thing you pointed out last night about Lindor, and you don't see this very often in batting stances, especially young guys. I mean, he holds those hands low, close to the belt.
Yeah, he's got him down there in gunfighter range.
.310 batting average, 7 home runs for Lindor. That'll miss high, and Lindor gets a 4-pitch walk.
Let's take a look at the Tigers starting defense. It is presented by Beaumont Health. Right to left, you've got Martinez. You got Davis in center field today. He's got good numbers against their starter. You got Collins in left, Romine getting his start at shortstop, Kinsler at second, Miggy at first, Nick Castellanos at that hot corner, and James McCann back behind the plate here this evening after Brian Holiday got a start last night.
Here is Brantley. We mentioned at the top of the show the top 2 hitters in the American League. Cabrera 1, Brantley 2.
And Brantley also with really nice numbers against Simon. Simon needs to be careful with Brantley.
In there is strike 0-1.
The one way that you can get Brantley out is you start him off with a fastball as Simon did, and then you go to some soft stuff. And he has very little stride as far as that front foot is concerned, and if he gets set too early, if you throw him something soft, and then you have a chance of getting on that front foot, getting yourself a ground ball.
Urshela, or I should say Lindor rather, with 6 steals in 8 attempts this year, and Lindor is a guy that can do a little bit about everything, including runs, so we'll keep an eye on him. Brantley, meanwhile, with 12 home runs, couple of hits in last night's game, including a double. And he'll draw another throw.
We were talking about Michael Brantley before the game today. This might just be the year that he wins a Gold Glove in left field. Of course, Alex Gordon has had a stranglehold on that Gold Glove award the last number of years, but Gordon missed about 2 months of action this season, and Brantley's only committed 2 errors out there.
And Brantley certainly has the offensive numbers to back it up, which seemingly is always tied to that award. That's outside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And back-to-back fastballs at 92, 93. An off-speed pitch might just get you the ground ball, and which is exactly what you're looking for here off the bat of Brantley.
Simon allowed 6 runs in his last start, 8 the start before that, earned runs that is, and so he's coming off 2 rocky starts. That's in there, a strike called, 1-2.
That's a good split-fingered fastball there. And Brantley wisely took the pitch. There's that splitter. That's a real nice look at it. And when he releases it out in front, he gets some really nice action on that pitch.
When Simon 3 starts ago threw his 1-hit shutout against Texas, that split finger pitch was tumbling off the table. Had a good breaking ball that night as well.
Had a lot of life on his fastball too. Fastball was 95, 96 that evening.
2-2 on Michael Brantley, just underway. 1 on, 1 out for the Indians.
And here comes that splitter again.
Brantley skies it in the air to center field. Rajay Davis backing up on the ball. 2 gone. By the way, stay tuned to Tigers Live. Following the game, we'll select the Fox Sports Detroit Tigers Player of the Game, presented by McDonald's Steak and Egg Burritos. So with 2 outs, here is Carlos Santana. Santana at .234 this year. A couple of walks last night. The second baseman Kinsler taking a couple of steps going to the edge of the grass. And Lindor draws another throw. Santana, one of the best in the majors at drawing walks. He is second in the American League right now with 2 walks last night. .85 base on balls on the season. Runner bluffs. Lindor looked like he was going and then put on the brakes. Apparently didn't like his jump.
Yep. If he's going to steal a base, he better get a good jump with the arm of McCann behind the plate.
There he goes. Here comes McCann's throw. Tag not in time. Head first slide for Lindor, his 7th stolen base of the year.
It hasn't been very often this year where we've watched McCann have to rush his throw down to second base. With a quick foot exchange, he kind of rushed his lower half, and that caused the arm to lag, and therefore that ball, it kind of tailed on Romine. Watch that front shoulder open up violently, which doesn't allow the arm to catch up and get out in front, and that ball kind of tailed on McCann. We haven't seen many throws like that out of James this year.
Meanwhile, the count has gone 3-0 on Santana. 7 for 9 this year for Lindor in the stolen base category. He'll take on 3-0. It's 3-1 now on Carlos. Waiting on deck, Lonnie Chisenhall, who is in the starting lineup tonight, came on to deliver a big pinch hit in last night's game. Now Simon with the 3-1. Bouncing ball right side. Nice play by Miggy on the backhand. Simon will cover, and that'll end the threat. No runs. They're going to walk. They strand a man. We go to the bottom of the first. starting lineup presented by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. And Davis will play center field tonight. 12 for 28 this season against the Indians with 6 steals as well. Kinsler, then Cabrera, JD, Victor, and Nick Castellanos in the middle of the Tigers starting 9. Collins, McCann, Romine playing shortstop tonight for the Tigers. They are facing the hard-throwing Danny Salazar.
And Tigers are very familiar with Salazar. They've seen him a bunch over the course of the last couple of years, which means they need to get ready to hit that fastball. It's going to be 95 and above all night long. 172 strikeouts this year for Salazar, which is 5th best in the American League.
So here is Davis to begin things for the Tigers. Rajay batting .241 this year. And Salazar slings it home, a strike called 0-1. Davis 4 home runs. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Little chopper toward third base on the charge. Urshela. His throw is in time. 1 gone.
Let's take a look at the starting defensive alignment for the Tribe this evening. It's presented by Tim Hortons. Brantley, Almonte, Chisenhall in the outfield. Urshela, Lindor, Kipnis, Sands in the infield. Perez getting the start behind the plate. 23rd start in right field for Chisenhall, who is a third baseman by trade. He's only made 1 error in 48 chances.
Here is Ian Kinsler batting .304 with 10 home runs this year. A rare 0-for last night for Kinsler, was hitless in 4 at-bats.
Rare indeed.
Strike 1 from Salazar. Ian checks in tonight, 2nd in the American League in hits with 161. He'll rip that one toward left, but it's going to hook foul.
We've been told that Salazar is going to use his breaking ball off-speed pitches a little bit more efficiently this evening against the Tigers, because he hasn't fared all that well against Detroit batters because he's thrown them a lot of fastballs.
There's a fastball at 95, 1-2.
Oh, he's just getting loose.
Salazar, 25 years old, native of Santo Domingo. Fouled off the mask, and the count stays 1 ball, 2 strikes.
You may remember that Salazar pitched very well down the stretch last year for Cleveland, and they had him slated to be in their rotation. But he was pitched so poorly in spring training this year, they had to start him in the minor leagues.
Pulled foul. Yeah, he's had a couple of trips down to Columbus last year. It really kind of turned things around for him, and really pitched well in the second half. And every time we have seen Salazar, I mean, the stuff is definitely there.
He's got a split-fingered fastball that is just absolutely nasty. He uses it as his changeup.
Another one pulled, and this one whistles by Dave Clark.
That was that splitter slash changeup that he features quite often, but he has not been able to get that ball down in the strike zone yet.
Salazar outdueled David Price in his last start. He gave up 2 runs in 7 innings against that potent Toronto offense. He had 10 strikeouts in that game. And Kinsler just staying alive, banged that one off the catcher Perez.
That's one of the things that you and I have talked about a couple of different times regarding that Toronto Blue Jays team. Yes, they're good. Yes, they're very talented, but if they run into a hot right-handed pitcher with some power stuff, they may get shut down with all those right-handed bats that they have. Donaldson, Bautista, Encarnacion.
The line for Salazar in that game, 7 innings, 2 runs, 10 punch-outs. Having trouble putting away Kinsler. Now again the 1-2. Missed inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
There's that splitter, and he gets it to dance in, he gets it to dance away, and sometimes it just falls right off the table. But Ian Kinsler did a very nice job of laying off that last one. Look at that thing.
Wow. That one missed inside, and now it's gone full 3-2.
It's been a heck of a bat for Ian. And usually when you've seen as many pitches as Ian has seen, and from Salazar here in the very first inning, it usually turns into a nice result.
This will be the 10th pitch in this at bat, and it's fouled away. I know one thing, Cabrera in the on deck circles getting a good long look at Salazar. Not that he needs it.
Yeah, he sure does. He's worn him out.
3-2.
He's worn out the whole team, though, not just Salazar. He hasn't just picked on Salazar.
Little chopper back up the middle. Kipnis will backhand it. His throw is wide off the bag, and Kinsler is safe at first base. Be an error on Kipnis.
It's only the 6th error of the season for Kipnis. He just dropped down to a sidearm angle, and that ball just sailed on him. Sands did a nice job of coming off the bag, trying to apply the tag to Kinsler as he ran by, but not able to do so. That's why you run out everything hard at this level. Well, at any level, just run it out, no matter how routine it appears to be.
So Cabrera stands in after the error by Kipnis, and Miggy has hit safely in his last 4. He's up to 360 again. 17 home runs this year. Last night they held him to 1 for 4. He had an RBI single in the ball game last night. And he looks at a ball outside. 1-0. It's got to be a little bit disheartening for Salazar. He battled and battled Kinsler, who had a 10-pitch at bat, and got a ground ball from him.
And no doubt. But he cannot think about that too long, Mario, because he's got this guy standing in the batter's box. He's got to forget about that.
Miggy waiting on a 1-0 pitch. 2-0 the count on Cabrera. Salazar this year has had 5 games of 10 or more strikeouts, including an 11 strikeout game against the Tigers in the month of April. So there are stretches where he's had success versus Detroit.
And we'll see how much confidence he has in that fastball if he decides to throw Miguel one here.
He did, but he missed outside. 3-0. JD Martinez waiting on deck. Indians come into play tonight trying to get back up to 500. They're getting close. They're 65 and 68. Cabrera takes on 3-0. It's 3-1. Cabrera knocked in the only Tigers run last night. RBI single in the 6th off Josh Tomlin. Swing and a miss.
What a pitch. 4 straight fastballs, all in the 95-mile-per-hour range, and he comes back with that split-fingered fastball, and Miggy could do nothing with it. Look at this pitch, and look at it dance once it gets in the strike zone. It's almost like a knuckleball.
It really is. Some east to west movement on that last pitch as well. The 3-2 is hit on the ground sharply at short. Lindor bobbles, flips to second one. Here comes the relay. They'll still get a double play. Hit it hard, but right at him. 6-4-3 ends the inning. away. Star Wars night coming up September 19th. Tigers taking on the Royals at 7:08. Get a special ticket package which includes a Tigers Star Wars t-shirt exclusively at tigers.com/Star Wars. Here come the Indians now as we go to the second against Alfredo Simon, who throws strike one to Lonnie Chisenhall. 263 this year for Chisenhall, 6 home runs. And he looks at a strike in the outer edge, 0-2. Lonnie playing outfield these days. He was a third baseman, but apparently they say that he has taken to that position very well. Here's the 0-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
It's a lot easier to go from an infield position to an outfield position versus the other way around. Most outfielders cannot play infield. I mean, it's that simple.
Now Simon ready with the 1-2. Swing and a miss. Chisenhall goes down. Second strikeout for Alfredo.
Now here's that split-fingered fastball. We told you he uses it a lot. This is not necessarily a good one. You would think that Chisenhall would have an opportunity to put that one in play with 2 strikes, but he swings right through it. Alfredo uses this pitch as much as anybody in the game. Only De La Rosa of the Colorado Rockies uses it a little bit more than Simon does.
Here's Jerry Sands. Why are you laughing?
Jerry. Here's that man.
We cannot get Jerry Sands out for whatever reason.
And Terry Francona just finds a place for him to play too, doesn't he? He got him.
Put him up. McCann discards the mask, and out number 2 is Jerry Sands.
Jerry's human.
He was 6 for 13 with 6 RBIs against the Tigers this year. Now that time, 2 gone. Here's Abraham Almonte.
So far, nice start for Alfredo Simon. I mean, you keep them off the board until your team can at least score a run or 2. The Tigers, in the last 10 days or so, they have not had many leads at all.
Almonte in center field again tonight.
Good fastball hitter. We told you that last night. And he also made a lot of nice defensive plays in center field in last night's contest.
That's in for a strike. Almonte was very busy last night. A lot of putouts. He has been with several different organizations, and he has landed here in Cleveland and really finds himself with an opportunity to play here in the final month.
Yeah, Michael Bourne, who was their center fielder when the season began and did not fare all that well. He eventually was traded back to the team that he made an all-star team with. That would be the Atlanta Braves. A lot of young players here now in Cleveland getting an opportunity with some of the trades that they made at the trade deadline. They traded away Brandon Moss. They traded away David Murphy. They traded away Nick Swisher.
It's been a little bit more of an exciting brand of baseball that they've been playing, and they're winning more games.
That youth, that young blood.
Here's the 1-2. Almonte rips it to first on 1 hop. Cabrera has it there, and that'll take care of the Indians in the second. No runs, no hits, nobody left. On our way to the bottom of the second at Comerica.
Salazar has a big arm, and he likes to throw that fastball by you on the very first pitch. And because of that, a couple of Tigers have connected on first pitches this year against Salazar. That would be Castellanos and also Miguel Cabrera. And he yields a pretty big number on first pitches. And he's given up 7 home runs. So he's one of those guys that you want to attack early.
Well, here is JD. He'll start things off in the second. Martinez, Castellanos.
We'll see if JD swings at that first pitch fastball from Salazar if he gets one.
JD last night was 1 for 3 in the opener. And that one slings outside. 1 ball, no strikes.
You know, you were talking about Salazar. He has 5 starts this year with 10 or more strikeouts. Chris Sale has 15 of those this year.
Whoa,
15 of those.
I didn't realize that. 1 ball, 1 strike. Going to be interesting to see who wins the Cy Young this year. Certainly Sale will be part of that conversation.
He is in that conversation.
1-1 is outside. 2 balls, 1 strike on JD Martinez.
It's shaping up that Cy Young is going to be a very tight race. Final 3 weeks of the season.
Swing and a miss.
Can't afford to have a bad start if you're a starter.
No, you really can't.
Sonny Gray, he had a bad start his last timeout. He gave up a big number. He can't have any more blemishes if he's going to stay in the Cy Young race.
Swing and a miss, and Martinez is out. That'll be the first strikeout for Salazar. 1 gone to bring up Victor Martinez. It also brings us to the Bernstein advantage, the pitcher-batter matchup. And Victor, well, he's been pretty good. 7 for 20 against Salazar. A couple of RBIs, a home run mixed in there.
Tigers have a team full of guys that can hit really good fastballs. Victor would be an example of one. Miggy, of course, JD, Castellanos, up and down their batting order. They really feast on guys that throw hard. It's the guys like Tomlin last night to give them trouble every now and then. Interesting. Tomlin last night.
Yeah, he was just lights out. I mean, and you pointed it out all night. It's not a guy that throws 95, 96 and just flat out overpowers you.
He just threw a few pitches over 100 last night, and 78% of those were fastballs, and not one fastball was above 90 miles an hour.
There he is, and he was in command all night long.
A complete game.
Only needed 104 pitches to get through it. Victor looks at a strike.
See Salazar mixing it up here tonight against the Tigers. He's throwing breaking balls in fastball counts. He really worked JD over nicely with a fastball, then a breaking ball, then a splitter, then a fastball to finish him off. And now it makes that fastball that much faster.
High towering fly ball to right field. Chisenhall going back. He's going to have room right at the edge of the track. Sounded better than it was. It just died out there in right field. 2 gone.
It's a 95-mile-per-hour fastball that looked like it was on the outside part of the plate, tailing away from Victor. You see it tailing up and away from Victor, and he got out and around it and didn't quite barrel it up the way that he normally barrels it up, therefore landing in Chisenhall's glove in right field on the warning track.
With 2 outs, here is Nick Castellanos. Nick 0 for 3 in last night's opener. He's another guy that recently we haven't said that a lot about. 328 over his last 17 games. 15 RBIs in that stretch. And he's raised his average up to 250 on the year. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And Tigers might have to change their game plan just a little bit against Salazar. Maybe not so aggressive on first pitches. And because that breaking ball and that splitter that he's starting some of these guys off with very seldom is it a strike.
2-1. And there's a strike called by Hunter Wendelstedt. 2-2 on Castellanos. Despite the loss last night for the Tigers, they still control the season series 9-4 against the Indians. 3 of those losses, though, have come here at Comerica Park. Two balls, 2 strikes. Fouled away.
You were talking about that start that Salazar had here against the Tigers in April, where he had 11 strikeouts in that game. He threw 115 pitches in that game, and 85 of the 115 that Salazar threw that night were 95 and above as far as the fastball is concerned. 85 of 115. That is remarkable.
Some big time staying power when you continue to throw at that velocity all the way through the ball game.
You take a look at some of the biggest arms in the game these days. Eovaldi, Richards, Archer, Salazar, and Sale. That would be in the American League.
Now Salazar ready with the 3-2, but Castellanos will step out. Tigers lost that game that Salazar pitched 13-1. That was back in April with 11 strikeouts.
Ouch.
Now the full count pitch. Pulled and into left field. Base hit. First hit of the ball game for the Tigers. A 2-out single by Castellanos.
Just a really nice job of Castellanos pulling his hands in on that off-speed pitch. And then by pulling the hands in front of the body, able to barrel it up and hit it right between the third baseman and the shortstop. Tigers have put together a couple of really nice at-bats already today against Salazar. The one by Kinsler was a good at-bat, and that was a good at-bat by Nick.
That will bring up Tyler Collins, getting to start again in left field tonight. Collins at 265. Tigers have their second base runner of the night. And Collins looks at ball 1. Tyler's had a pretty good month of September. He is 6 for 15 this month. Did a lot of damage in that series against the Royals, even though the Tigers did not do a whole lot of damage themselves as a team. The 1-0 pitch. Fouled straight back. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Last few weeks for Collins, he's getting an opportunity to do something, Mario, that he really hasn't had a chance to do in his prior call-ups, and that's play every day. A lot of times in the minors, he plays every day, then he comes to the big leagues and he doesn't get that opportunity. But now, Brad is affording him that opportunity in the month of September.
Nothing like consistent reps, right?
Especially for an everyday player. I mean, you're used to playing every day. You want to get at bats in multiple days.
2 balls, 1 strike.
And because he's playing every day, he's kind of settled in a little bit.
Well, we'll see if that changes at all. If indeed Steven Moya is called up, the thought process is that he will after the minor league season is over, and he may cut into some of those at bats.
Right.
But for now, he's out there every day, just about. And he lines one to left. That is going to sink in for a base hit. Back-to-back singles for the Tigers here in the second. Hey, just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Castellanos and Collins with singles. And here's James McCann. First really good scoring opportunity for the Tigers, albeit it comes with 2 outs. James at 258 this year. And McCann takes ball 1. 40 now for Salazar. 25 strikes. 15 have missed the strike zone.
That first pitch was a splitter to James McCann. That's the pitch Salazar likes to go to with runners in scoring position. if you're McCann now, you've got yourself in that predictable fastball count. You have to stay ready for that heater.
2-0. Salazar coming off a month of August in which he was very good, 3-1 with an ERA of 2.5. Putting together a solid year this year for the Tribe. Right back up the middle, off the pitcher. It'll go to Lindor into short left field, and this will get a run in. A rocket off the bat of McCann. That'll be a base hit and an RBI. 1-0 Tigers.
It's a bullet off the bat of McCann here. It's a fastball right down the middle, right off the left heel. The ball bounces over the shortstop's head. Lindor in real nice heads up coaching at third base by Dave Clark, who never obviously took his eye off that baseball. He had to get Castellanos to speed up so he could score. It's a nice job by DC.
So the 2-out rally started by the single from Castellanos, 3 straight hits. And the Tigers have given Simon a 1-0 lead, maybe more as Romine stands in. McCann is 33rd RBI of the year. Romine looks at a strike. And Salazar now is about to throw his 25th pitch of this inning. So it's been a lengthy one for him, and it's an inning in which he retired the first 2 batters. That'll dive inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Romine starting at short tonight. You've heard the news by now that Jose Iglesias will be gone a minimum of 2 weeks with the fracture in his finger. Machado started last night. Romine this evening. Bouncing ball right to the first baseman, Sands, who just simply turns to his left and gets the 3 unassisted. A run in on the hit by McCann. Tigers baseball tonight, presented by Bell Tire. Is brought to you by Comerica Bank. Raise your expectations of what a bank can be when it's time. Come to Comerica. By Jeep, keep summer's adventure going with great deals now during the Jeep Labor Day sales event. And by Kraft shredded cheese and salad dressing, make something amazing. Well, the Tigers have an early lead in this game. 1-0 is our score as we go to the top of the 3rd here. Simon back to the hill. Roberto Perez leads it off, and he'll take ball 1 high. Perez, Urshela, Kipnis, 8, 9, and 1 in the Francona lineup tonight. Tigers get a run on the RBI hit by James McCann. There's a strike on the outer edge. 1-1. Simon had a 1-2-3 second. He has struck out 2 batters in this game. Up and in, 2-1. Perez starting behind the dish in this one here tonight. Yan Gomes started game 1 last night. Here's the 2-1 offering. Little chopper toward third, waiting on the hop, Castellanos. Perez is out, 1 away. Game break time now. Here's Matt Shepard. Yeah, he's been a really good pickup, obviously, from them. The Tigers got a couple of really nice prospects back, but David Price certainly doing what he needs to do in a pennant race.
Well, nothing surprising about what David Price is doing for Toronto. He is simply one of the best left-handers in the game of baseball, and he's a big game pitcher, too.
Giovanni Urshela stands in.
Toronto Blue Jays. Donaldson already has 100 RBIs, but you have Encarnacion and also Joey Bautista knocking on the door to 100 RBIs as well in that lethal offense that Toronto has.
1-2 now, the count on Urshela. Blue Jays 77 victories. Only Kansas City has more in the American League. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss. And Urshela is out on strikes. 3rd strikeout now for Simon.
So far tonight, Alfredo Simon's on point. And here's a breaking ball. Look at roll off the fingertips. Located beautifully at the bottom of the zone, ever so slightly inching its way away from that bat of Urshela. It's a nice pitch. I like the way that James McCann is mixing in all of Simon's pitches in the first few innings in this game.
Simon now has retired 7 in a row. Ball 1 missing outside to Kipnis.
If you weren't with us at the top of the show, we told you that Simon in 3 starts this year, 3-0 against the Tribe with an earned run average just a shade over 2. And of the 40 pitches that Simon has thrown, 50-50 as far as the fastball and the off speed.
There's the 2-0 to Kipnis. That's ball 3 high. Simon has already issued 1 walk. That's to the guy waiting on deck, Lindor. In fact, Lindor is their only base runner so far. And now they have 2. It's a 4-pitch walk to Kipnis. Tying run aboard with 2 outs.
And Kipnis does have the ability to steal a base. Therefore, if you're Simon, you have to give McCann more time to throw than you gave him earlier in this game. Lindor was able to swipe his 7th bag of the season.
Lindor had a double in last night's ball game. Finished up with a couple of hits. And he'll take ball 1. So Simon now has missed on 5 in a row. Lindor is only 21 years of age. 8th overall pick in the 2011 draft. I'll chase Kipnis back. Lindor got his first hit in this ballpark against Joakim Soria earlier this year. But what he has done recently offensively has been really impressive as he has settled into the big league lifestyle. Here's the 1-0. 2-0 now on Lindor. That'll send McCann out to the mound.
Here is a little bit of what Lindor has done since coming to the big leagues. He didn't make his major league debut until June 4th right here in this ballpark. But he's hitting 300. He slashes from both sides. And take a look at these defensive plays, though. I mean, these plays right here, ranging to the left. And then another play where he sprawls, dives, gets up with a hose over the first base. There's some really good shortstops in the American League. Lindor would be one of those, along with Correa and, of course, our very own Iglesias.
You know, when we first laid eyes on Lindor back in June when he made his debut, he just looked like, you know, yeah, he might be a good prospect, but he seemed smallish. He didn't seem to have a lot of pop in his bat, but boy, that's developed.
I mean, they're already talking about his leadership skills.
He'll slap that one slicing down the left field line and foul. 2-2 now on Lindor. Two out base on balls to Kipnis. Tigers got a 1-0 lead. They got it back in the second on the RBI hit by McCann. Now the 2-2. Lindor takes high, 3 balls and 2 strikes. There's Brantley waiting on deck. Prefer not to get it to him with 2 outs.
And especially with the numbers that Brantley has against Alfredo Simon.
Here's the 3-2 with a runner on the move. Bouncing ball to first. And that'll be handled by Cabrera. That'll end the inning. No runs, a walk, 1 man left. On our way to the bottom of the third. Nothing in favor of Detroit. Time now for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use hashtag Detroit Data Strong Fan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Beautiful night here in the Motor City. Tigers have a 1-0 lead as they come to the dish now in the bottom of the third with the top of the order. It'll be Rajai Davis, Ian Kinsler, Miguel Cabrera facing the right-hander Danny Salazar. They strung together 3 consecutive hits after Salazar retired the first 2 batters in the second. And Rajai takes ball 1. Davis grounded out 5-3 in his first at bat. And he sends another ground ball left side. It'll get through. Lindor has it. His throw is in time for the out.
Look at that arm strength, Mario. I mean, he is running to his right, and he throws that ball off balance, and he throws a cross line, a close line across the diamond to get one of the fastest guys in the American League.
That was pretty impressive right there.
Real nice arm strength. Backhand, off balance throw, and he gets Rajai Davis.
One gone here in the third, and that'll bring up Ian Kinsler. He sends a ground ball up the middle and door, diving for this one, can't get it. And Kinsler has a hit.
Well, if you go to the plate against Salazar, if you're a right-hander or a left-hander, about 85% of the time, the first pitch is a fastball. That's how much he likes his heater. Ian Kinsler knew that, and he barreled it up.
Tigers have their fourth hit of the game. That'll bring up Cabrera, who bounced into a double play in his first at bat, but he hit a bullet to the shortstop Lindor. Ball one.
Even though that was a pretty high leg kick there by Salazar, he still gets the ball to the catcher in enough time to throw. So if you're Ian Kinsler and you're thinking about running, you got to make sure you get a good jump against this combination of Perez and Salazar.
Two balls, no strikes.
Fell behind Miguel. 3 balls and no strikes in Miggy's first plate appearance here today, before finally getting Miguel to hit into a double play.
Perez at 36.8% behind the plate and throwing out runners. And a toss back, Kinsler back in there. Runner goes outside. Perez's throw is on target and out at second base. Kinsler. So Perez, who came in with a pretty good throwing out percentage, just added to that.
Well, Salazar, he gives Perez time to throw, and we had already told you that. And Ian got a decent jump, but a really nice throw that tailed right into the sliding lane of Ian Kinsler, and Kipnis, the second baseman, able to grab it and then apply the tag to Ian Kinsler as he slid by.
Time on Salazar there was 1.13 seconds on that delivery. Meanwhile, Cabrera has just taken his walk.
Yeah, and that's an area where you just can't run. If a guy is 1-1 to the plate, you're doing yourself no justice by trying to steal a base there.
That'll bring up J.D. Martinez. J.D. struck out on his only at bat 0 for 1. Martinez now has seen Salazar 10 times. He is 1 for 10 against him.
As a matter of fact, the last time we saw Salazar in Cleveland, J.D. didn't even play that night.
Salazar has done a really good job against right-handed batters. They bat just .206 against him this year.
This guy's going to throw a no-hitter before it's all said and done, Mario, with his stuff, his skill set.
It appears that way. There's a strike call. 1-2 now on J.D. Martinez. Tigers fortunate to miss Corey Kluber in this series. He was scheduled to pitch last night, but a hamstring problem will keep him out. I think he thought about advancing but made the right choice. 2-2. They will see Cody Anderson tomorrow against JV for the finale in this series. Verlander's been good now for about a month and a half. 2-2, almost hit him inside. JD spins out of the way. Full count, which means Cabrera will get a head jump at first. Salazar now has gone to the full count 4 times already. We're only in the 3rd. The 3-2. Driven deep in the air to right field. That ball is hit way back to the track, to the wall. Leaping try, and that ball is gone. J.D. Martinez goes the other way with a 2-run shot.
J.D. Martinez was able to climb the ladder and tomahawk that 94-mile-per-hour fastball thrown by Salazar. I'm not even sure it was a strike. Fastball up, and look at JD get up there and get on top of it.
The upper reaches of the strike zone, to be sure. Chisenhall ran out of room. That is JD's first home run since August 26th, when he hit one on the last homestand against the Angels.
That is his 35th of the season.
Ball 1 inside. So Martinez makes this a 3-0 ball game. RBIs 88 and 89 as well. 1 ball, 1 strike. So Martinez now has a legit shot to get to 40 and 100 in the home run and RBI categories. There's a ground ball foul.
And you brought this up a couple of days ago, talking about J.D. Martinez. As we get a look at his home runs by direction, you can see there's no part of the ballpark that is safe when J.D.'s in the batter's box. 12 to left, 12 to center, 11 to right. But you were talking about J.D. Martinez, and one of the big question marks coming into this season was, would he be able to duplicate or continue to do what he did last year? And boy, has he answered all those questions.
I thought coming into spring training this year, he had a lot of pressure on him, because I still think there were some people out there that didn't believe that last year was legit.
Yeah, some people thought it was a fluke for sure.
Apparently no flukiness involved. A huge season for J.D. Martinez. Victor waits on a 1-2. And that one sails outside. 2-2.
And J.D. was asked the question quite often in spring training about pressure of duplicating the season, and did he feel the pressure? And he would answer the same question every time. No, I don't feel any pressure whatsoever. Pressure is something that you put on yourself.
In the air to center field. Send Del Monte back. He's 100. And that'll end the inning. Tigers get 2 more runs. 2-run shot by J.D. Martinez. Make it a 3-0 ball game. And again, as he has done oftentimes this year, flexing that power the other way over the right field wall with that home run.
There aren't many right-handers in the game today that can boast the same kind of power that Martinez has, hitting the ball the opposite direction.
Pretty impressive.
It really is.
Here's Brantley now to start things off as we go to the fourth. The Cleveland Indians haven't had too many opportunities. They've had a couple of walks, and that's it.
And when you think about J.D. hitting that ball out of the ballpark, a 94-mile-per-hour fastball up in the strike zone that he hit out.
Here's the 1-0 to Brantley. He'll fly that one in the air to shallow center field. Davis coming over, and Brantley retired, 1 out. That'll bring up Santana. Simon had a 1-2-3 second. He has pitched around a couple of walks and a stolen base tonight, and his teammates so far have been able to back him with 3 runs. Santana bounced out sharply to the first baseman Cabrera in the first inning. When he bats left-handed, he gets the shifting treatment as the third baseman Castellanos goes to short right field.
Yeah, you've got 3 members of the Tigers infield on that side, and he hit right into the teeth of that defense his first time up.
2-0.
It's a dangerous count here if Simon decides to throw a Santana fastball, and he is.
Fouled away, 2-1. You are hard pressed these days to find a team that does not shift at some point or at some time, at least some form of shifting.
It used to be, Mario, where they only shifted on guys like Santana. I mean, your big guys, Victor Martinez, your Prince Fielders of the world, Ortiz. But now, as you mentioned, every single guy in the lineup gets shifted on, even the table setters.
Because I guess when you think about it, even the table setters have tendencies.
Correct.
They have spots where they hit the ball more times than not, so you play the percentages. 2-2 on Santana.
Terry Francona on his side has a lot of numbers right in front of him that he's looking at all the time. You can see that that page right there. There's a lot of numbers on there that he uses to get him through the course of the game. You could imagine, Mario, there's probably a number on that thing about for everything.
Oh, no doubt.
Meanwhile, on the other side, Brad doesn't have any of that. He does have a book, though.
Ripped to right field, but it's going to go foul.
Brad has a book that he has on the bench that he goes to every now and then when he wants to take a look at something. But you cannot find a team these days that's not using analytics in some shape or form.
Gene Lamont is bench coach. Omar Vizquel. Here's the 3-2 again. Driven down the right field line. Again, it's going to go foul.
It's a lot of big league time combined by those 3 men. Both of Lamont's time as a manager and a coach in the big leagues. Vizquel, 23 years in the big leagues. Brad, 18 years in the movies.
And Omar spent some quality years in the major leagues with the Indians.
Did you know that Omar, no shortstop in the history of the game, has played more games than him in that position?
Did not know that. I
no
do
one.
now.
Yeah, no one.
Literally.
Not Jeter. Not Ripken. He is the all-time leader at games played at the shortstop position.
(3-2). Carlos Santana. And another foul, so he is giving Simon fits. It's turned into a lengthy at bat. A 9-pitch at bat to this point. Vizquel played with the Indians from 1994 through 2004. Of course, he came up with Seattle, had stops in San Francisco, Texas, the White Sox, Toronto, when he finally hung it up after the 2012 season. And Santana fouls off another.
Vizquel became a mentor his last few years in the big leagues. With the White Sox, he mentored Alexi Ramirez. Then he moved on to Toronto. What's the shortstop's name at the time? He's now in Philadelphia. Not Philly, but in Washington. Yunel Escobar. He tutored him there when he went to Toronto. Now he's got Iglesias.
And he finally walked it, man. Important at bat there by Santana. He'll walk with 1 out. Check in with Johnny K now, who has more on Indians manager Terry Francona.
Yeah, guys, well, Indians president Mark Shapiro late last month accepted the same role with the Toronto Blue Jays, although he won't move into the new post until the end of the season. But Terry Francona had an opt-out clause in his contract that said if either Shapiro or the general manager Chris Antonetti were to leave the organization, that he could opt out of his deal. Now, we know Francona's in his 3rd season with the Tribe, but he says he will not use that as leverage moving forward. I had a chance to talk to him earlier today. He says he believes in the leadership of the organization moving forward, that obviously Shapiro will be missed by all, but that he feels very confident about the direction the club is heading.
All right, Johnny, thanks. Well, you know, they're certainly playing a lot better baseball here in the second half.
Well, we talked about the talent that they now have. Some younger kids have called up. They've made some deals, and they've acquired some different players. And the people that follow the Indians say that they're playing their best brand of baseball at this particular time that they've played all season.
Ball low to Chisenhall. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, Francona, the 2013 manager of the year in the American League. The Indians won 92 games that season in 2013. They had that huge stretch run where they won 15 of their last 17 games.
Yeah. They're hoping for another one of those this year.
High fly ball right field. It'll stay in the ballpark. Under it, J.D. Martinez. Chisenhall is out. There are 2 gone. Santana holds at first base. Now Jerry Sands. Got him to pop up to the catcher his first time.
Speaking of Terry Francona, he was the first manager to get a chance to manage Michael Jordan when Michael Jordan stepped away from basketball for a couple of years. Francona was managing in the White Sox system at that time in Double-A. And Michael Jordan was on that team.
I think Michael Jordan found out how hard baseball can be.
Yeah. Michael Jordan also played in the Fall League that year. And this is back when the Fall League was a good league.
Right.
Really good. And Michael kind of held his own there. Michael bought the team a new bus. They were traveling in style in Double-A that year.
We want Michael to come play for us.
Yeah, they were traveling in style.
Let's just go out and buy a new bus.
Terry got his first managerial job at the recommendation of Michael Jordan as well in Philadelphia.
He had to go there. Yeah, he went around. Tony Randazzo at first base. 0-1 the count. Simon giving up a walk to Santana, a walk to Kipnis, and a walk to Lindor. Those are the only base runners tonight for the Indians. Sands checked it this time. 1 ball, 1 strike.
A couple hard fastballs inside thrown by Simon at 94 with some late life on them. But when he gets those fastballs crisscrossing that cutter and that sinker at about 93, 94 along with that splitter, he can be tough. But he's got to get them all working together.
Swing and a miss.
I see you, Alfredo. I see you. Here's our high-speed pitch, and it's brought to you by Xfinity. Top fastball. The previous fastball he threw to Jerry Sands was at 94. And 73, that would be that curveball he threw earlier in the game. Really slow curveball.
Rolled foul. 3 starts ago, Simon had that one hitter. The complete game one hitter against Texas. The only hit he gave up was to Rougned Odor, the number 7 guy in the lineup, and that was the lineup that pretty good lineup. I mean, you got Fielder and Beltran and Moreland and Andrews.
And they were performing pretty well when they rolled in here. They took 3 or 4 here, didn't they?
They did. Rangers right now leading for that second wild card spot in the AL. 1-2 is tapped foul again by Sands. The Yankees right now have the top wild card spot. Texas in at number 2.
Got Cleveland 5 back with an outside chance. Minnesota still hanging on.
They are 4 games over, a game and a half out. Tigers will see the Twins on the next road trip. And again, the 1-2 pitch. And it's low. 2-2 on Jerry Sands. That is 70 already now for Alfredo.
His ratio's not very good. He's thrown 70, but 31 of the 70 have missed the strike zone.
In the air towards center field. Rajay on the move, and he dives and makes the catch. Rajay Davis, a sparkling play in left center. Oh, what a play by Davis. Stretching out to his left. Saving an extra base hit and a run.
Rajay Davis takes off for this ball and leaves his feet and makes an outstanding play, and to make sure that the Tigers hold on to their lead.
Great play by Davis. Saved an extra base hit, and also the Indians get on the board.
Getting lots of high fives from his teammates as well as he approached the dugout. He was met by every single one of them.
Nick Castellanos leads it off as we go to the bottom of the 4th. It is 3-0 in favor of the Tigers. Castellanos takes ball 1.
It was Castellanos who had a really nice at bat his first time up with 2 outs, and eventually came around to score on the single off the bat of James McCann.
1-1 strike. Salazar surrendering that hit by McCann, and then the 2-run shot to J.D. Martinez. Collins and McCann to follow here in the 4th. A 1-1 to center field where Almonte is positioned. 1 away. Now Tyler Collins will stand in. Collins had a single, one of the 3 consecutive hits in the second, getting the Tigers the first run of the game. Tigers tonight trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. Indians, meanwhile, have won 10 of their last 14 contests. 2 balls, no strikes. Popped up foul, back out of play. Collins now has hit safely in 4 of his last 5. Fly ball left field. This ball hit pretty good. Rattling back. It's going to carry out. It's gone. Tyler Collins goes the other way. The Tigers have their second home run of the night.
We told you that the Tigers really have had no issues getting to Salazar. He tries to overpower all of them with fastballs, and the Tigers have a team full of guys that can hit mid-90s fastballs, and Collins, the latest example of that. It's a fastball belt buckle high that he hits the opposite way. And I did not know that Collins had that kind of power the opposite direction. We know he has pull power, but that's really the first time that he's demonstrated any kind of power hitting the ball out to left.
Make it 6 Tigers hits now. They lead 4-0. There's a ground ball left side, base hit.
The Tigers continue to jump on that first pitch that Salazar is featuring here tonight. The batting average against him on first pitches, .340 coming into the game.
It'll be a 2-hit game for James McCann.
Good to see James's bat to perk up here tonight. He had been struggling a little bit lately.
Mickey Callaway coming out, their pitching coach. Salazar now has given up back-to-back hits. And McCann had been struggling in the month of September, but it's good to see him perk up tonight. Hey, the Tigers battle these Indians tomorrow at 1:08 p.m. and Sunday Kids Day, and all kids 14 and under receive a free back-to-school water bottle. If you'd like tickets, call 866-66-TIGER or visit tigers.com. Justin Verlander will be making the start tomorrow. Mickey Callaway will lead. There is activity in the bullpen for the Indians. Manship, the right-hander. Here is Andrew Romine.
That home run by Tyler Collins, his first career home run to left field.
Swing and a miss, 0-1 on Romine, who grounded out to end the second. Bouncing ball right side. Kipnis spins to second, and they will get the out there. That's it. The throw is not a good feed to Lindor.
I think they're going to take a look at it.
Well, now I'm thinking that would qualify as the neighborhood play. Let's see. I think he's out anyway.
Yep, he is out.
So he was stretching, so upon further review of that, that probably would not have been the neighborhood play had it been a little closer. The Tigers might have taken a look at it.
It's a couple of throws today by Kipnis, both sidearm variety that have not been good throws. He was saved there of his second error of the night.
Up and into Rajay Davis. Rajay has put the ball on the ground twice. Last time up, Lindor made a nice play on him to throw him out. 75 now for Salazar.
He hasn't had an easy inning yet.
Another throw back, and Romine dives back in. Tigers have 7 hits in this ball game, and 2 of them have left the building. The Martinez 2-run homer and the Tyler Collins solo shot. Davis getting the start over Anthony Gose in this one here tonight out in center field. Drives this one in the air deep into left center field. That ball is tattooed, and it's going to go up against the wall. That'll get another run in. Rajai streaking all the way to third, and he is in safely with another triple.
That's his 9th triple of the season.
Nothing Tigers.
Man, is he fun to watch when he hits that ball into the outfield over the center fielder's head, especially in Triple's alley in right center field and left center field. It's another fastball, belt buckle high, that Rajai Davis just jumps on, and Almonte in center field has literally ran down everything, but not able to run this one down. And look at Rajai run.
Home to third, I'd put Rajai Davis up there with anybody in baseball.
He runs the bases well. I mean, he takes real nice cuts to get to the next base, and that's why he's one of the fastest in the game. And they've knocked Salazar out of here.
Yes, they have. He's gone here in the 4th. Wall side windows pitching change. Here comes Manship. We'll be back.
Of the game here in the 4th inning, and let's watch Rajai run after he makes contact and drives the ball over Almonte's head. He's smelling triple right now. Took Rajai 11.25 seconds to go from home plate to third base. That's pretty fast.
Well, roughly the same time it would take me to go from home to first.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
43 triples now for the Tigers as a team, and as you mentioned, Rajai now has 9 of those.
And they lead the American League by a pretty good margin. They've got Salazar shaking his head. He can't figure the Tigers out.
5 runs tonight, 3 of those earned. They may not be done yet.
I think every big hit that Salazar gave up in the game was a fastball tonight that was up in the strike zone.
Ian Kinsler has a single, also reached on an error. Jeff Manship is on now for the Indians.
Nice numbers for Manship. A 1.32 ERA. The whip is well under 1. Nearly a strikeout per inning, and he doesn't walk very many.
Slow tap, third base line. Going to have to hurry to get him. Tough play, and he throws it away. A run will score. Kinsler is on his way to second, and he's going to stop there.
Another multi-hit for Ian Kinsler. This team looks totally different tonight. Totally different feel to this Tigers team this evening against the Tribe. It's a nice try here by Perez, but he should have eaten it, knowing that Ian Kinsler has good speed. He threw off balance, and Sands, the first baseman, couldn't help him. And when you're running down that line, if you're a base runner, the one thing that you do once you get to the bag, you look to your right to see if that ball is thrown away, and Ian Kinsler able to recognize that and got himself into scoring position.
These are major league leaders here, and Kinsler with 53 multi-hit games now.
Yoenis Cespedes with 50 is second on that list.
Make it a 6-0 game, and here is Cabrera. Tigers have scored at least one in each of the last 3 innings, and they now have 9 hits. Walking a double play ball tonight for Miguel. Driven to center field. Almonte will go back, and that will end the inning. Tigers, though, pad their lead. It's now 6-0. Law firm, official legal services sponsor of Fox Sports Detroit. Bell Tire, get the lowest tire price, period. Bell Tire. Myers, save big with NPerks from Myers. Sign up at nperks.com. And by Chevrolet, find new roads. Well, the Tigers have extended their lead now. It is 6-0 as we go to the top of the 5th inning. Collins with a homer and Rajay with a triple. He's had a great catch tonight as well. And a good in night for Davis. Meanwhile, Simon goes to the hill facing the bottom 3. Almonte leads it off. And he checks his swing, strike 1.
And Rajay, one of those energy guys. Every time he plays, he just seems to energize his teammates, especially when he's doing positive things on the baseball field. We've seen it time and time again this year.
1 ball, 1 strike on Almonte. Perez to follow, and then Urshela. Only 3 runners tonight for the Indians. That ball sharply hit to the second baseman. 1 gone. They've had 3 walks. That's it. We'll bring up Perez, the catcher. Grounded to the third baseman, Castellanos. And he'll look at a strike. Fastball right in there from Simon. That'll bend him out of the way. 1 ball, 1 strike. Perez spent 6 years in the minor leagues before he finally got his first big league chance last year. Did pretty well with Cleveland, hit .271.
Got a little sock in his bat. He's homered 5 times this year in limited playing time.
Here's the 1-1. 2-1. Third round pick that has made it to the major leagues. Simon ready with the 2-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. 2-2. Number 9 hitter Giovanni Urshela waiting on deck. Two is swung on and missed. Down he goes.
He's dealing today. Shook off to the breaking ball and threw a beauty up there. Uncomfortable swing by Perez.
4th strikeout now for the right-hander Simon.
The curveball's been a good pitch. The splitter's been a good pitch. He's got the good cutter. He's got the good sinker. He's keeping the ball out of the middle of the plate. A lot of first pitch strikes.
0-1 on Urshela. He struck him out back in the 3rd. Urshela was called up from AAA back in June, early June, the 9th. And he fouls that one off. He's down to the count 0-2. Simon a walk in the 1st, a walk in the 3rd, a walk in the 4th. That has been it. Indians are not really threatened at all tonight. The 0-2 pitch. Bouncing ball foul.
Hey, one of the things that he did so well just a couple of starts ago when he pitched his first complete game of his major league career, he had a really nice pace. I mean, he was quick. He got the ball from the catcher, and he was working very aggressively. He has gone back to his old pace, but the numbers still not favorable against him tonight for the Tribe.
Fly ball center field. Rajai Davis moving back, still going back. He looks up and he makes the catch. That thing carried out to the warning track.
It's nice to have that kind of speed in center field.
Tigers baseball tonight presented by Bell Tire.
Salazar struck out J.D. Martinez, but in the third inning, he had no success against J.D. He started him off with mid-90s fastballs, 3 in a row. Then he bounced a splitter. Then he missed with one inside. Then he was forced into throwing a strike 3 and 2 fastball 94. Hit the opposite way by J.D. Martinez for his 35th home run of the season and his 11th to right field this year. Yes, 11 of them to right field.
J.D. Martinez leads it off, and Victor Martinez, Nick Castellanos. There's a ball inside to J.D. He extended the lead to 3-0 with his home run in the third after McCann gave him a lead with a one-run single, I should say, back in the second. That is tapped foul to third base. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jeff Manship came on in the fourth inning, retired Cabrera to end the inning. He was with the Phillies last year, but he's been well traveled. Colorado, Minnesota. Broke in with the Minnesota Twins. That's pulled foul. Salazar bounced out of this game in the fourth inning.
It's only the third time this year where Salazar has given up 2 homers in the game. He did it to the Texas Rangers and also the New York Yankees. And 2 really good parks to hit in, Texas and New York.
2-2 the count.
Still kind of fascinating to me that the Tigers have their way against a guy like Salazar, who is so good and basically dominates everybody but Detroit.
Swing and a miss. An uncomfortable swing there for Martinez.
It's a breaking ball that backed up, and he was looking for that ball away, and it stayed up and in, and he couldn't get to it. A lot of times when you see breaking ball come out of the pitcher's hand, you're anticipating that ball being down and away from you because that's where most breaking balls end up. But that one stayed up, and J.D. just could not make contact with it.
Here's Victor Martinez. A couple of fly balls, 1 to right, 1 to center. Salazar, by the way, tonight, his 3 2/3 innings, the shortest outing of his season this year. He's fouled back out of play. In a season in which he was looking for his 13th win, had a good ERA in the low 3s. Tigers have posed a problem for him. Manship with the 0-1 pitch. More action in the bullpen. Soto, the former Tigers farmhand, Armstrong, is the right-hander. That's a strike called. Castellanos waiting on deck. That'll get pulled foul down the first base line. 1-2 the count stays.
And for the most part, Manship is a fastball slider. Fastball tops out at about 92. Throws quite a bit of sliders. Also has a curveball and a changeup, but doesn't use those other 2 pitches as much as he uses the fastball and the slider.
Tigers on top 6-0. They got 1 in the second, 2 in the third, and 3 in the fourth. After being stymied last night by Tomlin, only 4 hits in the game last night. Now 2-2 on Victor. Way out there in short right field is Kipnis. And a ground ball foul. Well, Victor with his 0 for 2 tonight is now 1 for 17 in the month of September.
Nice pick down there by Omar Vizquel. Still got those good hands.
He's not afraid to make a play either.
No, he is not.
That'll go foul.
Got him a little short hop, picked it like it was nothing.
Nice play, a little flash at the end.
Yeah, a little hot dog in him, and he gets mad at the Iglesias.
There's Iggy. He's got that finger all wrapped up. They'll check him out in another couple of weeks, but unfortunate to lose Iglesias. Now the count has gone full 3-2.
Jose's had a nice year. Got a good shot at finishing above 300 for the second time. He had 300 a couple years ago.
Yep.
Got an infield singles. Tremendous defender. Does he have a shot at the Gold Glove?
I think so. I'd have to look at the numbers, but yeah, why not? And does he have quick hands? He has that quick release.
It's always tough with that Gold Glove with the consistency of J.J. Hardy in Baltimore, you know?
Yeah, because if you look at straight numbers in terms of how many errors the guy's made, the Hardy's one of those guys that just makes every play.
He got good WAR numbers too, J.J. Hardy.
Here's the 3-2. Lifted to left center field. That's going to get down. Base hit. Sliding over to make the play is Brantley, and they're going to hold Martinez to a single.
What a pretty swing by Victor, and what a magnificent at bat. He fouled off pitch after pitch after pitch until he finally got something that he can handle. It's a two-seamer that's at the bottom of the strike zone, and that's how you hit the ball that's down in the strike zone. You simply wait until it gets deep enough in the strike zone so you can create the bat angle to hit the ball the opposite way. If you try to get out in front of that pitch, you're going to ground out to the second baseman. That was beautifully done by Victor.
And it was an 11 pitch at bat. Strike one to Castellanos. One for two for Nick in this ball game. Had a single, scored a run in the second. Swing and a miss, 0-2. .339 since August 19th. In that stretch, 12 extra base hits. Now Manship Ray with the 0-2, and Castellanos would not bite after that one. 1 ball, 2 strikes. There goes JD jotting down some more notes.
Yes, he is. He hasn't had many at bats against Manship, so he really has to write some good notes in there regarding him. I like the way that he does it right away too, so that he can remember everything.
2-2 on Castellanos.
Were you a good notes taker back in school?
I was, actually. That was one of my strengths.
Probably helped you in your broadcasting career too,
did.
right?
Yeah. No doubt. I mean, you've got to be pretty meticulous a lot of times in what we do as far as writing down our notes. But now my grades, that was a different story.
You got good grades.
2-2 on Castellanos. And it missed, and Nick was saying, please don't call that a strike. 3-2. Manship took over in the fourth. There's Collins on deck. Swing and a miss. He tried to hold up, but Castellanos goes around. That'll be the second strikeout. We'll bring up Tyler Collins, and we'll welcome in Craig Monroe, who has seen some pretty good stuff from Tyler recently, haven't you, Craig? playing for a job next year. I remember talking to Brett Ausmus a couple of weeks ago and saying, are these at-bats more important than what he'll be able to do in spring training last year? And he said without question here the month of September. So this is a pretty critical month for him.
I don't think there's any question that he can hit right-handed pitching at this level. He has demonstrated that, and he's hit throughout his minor league career. And the one thing for Tyler Collins is now, can he hit left-handers? It doesn't appear that Brad Ausmus is going to pinch hit for him, so he's going to get an opportunity here against a left-hander. And if he can continue to show that he can hit left-handers and right-handers, then that's really going to play into his favor going forward.
Hey, Craig, we appreciate it. We'll check in with you a little bit later on. So Collins now will face the new lefty that has come in, and that'll be the former Tiger farmhand Giovanni Soto in a wall side windows pitching change.
46 games for Soto down in the minor leagues in Columbus, 53 2/3. He did well down there, just a 2.68 earned run average, had a bunch of strikeouts, 51 of those, 29 base on balls. Soto is making his major league debut.
Soto, who was traded to the Indians for Johnny Peralta several years back, now comes back to the Motor City as a big leaguer, and he will face Tyler Collins.
That was a pretty good deal for the Tigers. Johnny Peralta put up a lot of offensive numbers and made all-star teams in his tenure in Detroit.
Collins single and a homer. Tigers have a 6-0 lead, and a bouncing ball right to the first baseman. Jerry Sands will tag the bag for the out to end the inning. No runs, a hit, one man left, 5 in the books here at Comerica. 6-0 Tigers.
J.D. Martinez with his 35th home run of the season, the opposite way. And then it's Tyler Collins. He hit his 3rd of the year, but his 1st in his major league career, the opposite way. And then Rajai Davis, he's already made a real nice play defensively in a triple, which would be his 9th of the season. Tigers playing a real nice brand of baseball here tonight.
And it'll be Jason Kipnis now in the 6th inning. Kipnis, Lindor, Brantley, their top 3 hitters in the lineup. Alfredo Simon goes back to work and delivers a high strike on the lefty batting Kipnis.
Kipnis has had some good years in the big leagues, but he really has not been able to do a whole lot with Tigers pitching since he's been in the big leagues.
No, the numbers have been underwhelming, even this year he's batting over 300 against the league and having a tremendous season. But in this series, 0 for 6 with a walk. Swing and a miss.
And Kipnis holds that bat out away from him before he starts to get himself prepared to hit. He does that because he wants to know where the barrel of the bat is.
Here's the 1-2. Low, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
There you see it.
Kipnis came in 238 career against Tigers pitching. Drills that one to right field. JD is on the run. Martinez goes back to make the catch.
JD Martinez.
You're pushing that Gold Glove up there, aren't you?
Well, you know, I'm not necessarily pushing it, but I'm just trying to think of who's doing better out in right field this year. He's got 14 assists. He's only made 2 errors. He's made a wonderful adjustment from left field to right field. I think Joey Bautista probably the overall best right fielder in the game as far as the American League is concerned, but the numbers don't lie this year for JD.
Nope, and here they are. Only 2 errors and the 14 assists. That is skied in the air to left. It's going to be playable, though, for Tyler Collins. And there are 2 gone. So Lindor is out of there. That'll bring up Brantley. Tigers outfield has made some plays tonight.
Yeah, Simon has thrown that fastball up strategically. He's left some of his split-fingered fastballs up in the strike zone and allowed his outfielders to run underneath a lot of lazy fly balls.
Brantley is flying to the center fielder Rajai Davis twice. Eight fly ball outs tonight for Alfredo Simon. Here's how they play him defensively, giving up the third base line. Now the 1-0. 2 balls, no strikes. Ripped down the right field line. Fair ball. It's going to go to the corner. Michael Brantley is on his way to second base, and he will pull in with a 2-out double in the 6th. And Simon will get a nice round of applause. The first hit he is allowed tonight.
You knew it would be Michael Brantley to get it,
didn't you, though? Brantley's second double in the series.
It's a 2-0 pitch, and Brantley goes down and gets his split-fingered fastball like he knew it was coming. Most guys are looking for a heater in that situation. That pitch was 85, and Brantley just turned on it.
42nd double this year now for Brantley.
Whoa.
That is tops in the American League. So he should get to 50 by the year's end. That's up and in to Santana. Tigers tonight have out hit the Indians 10-1. More importantly, they lead 6-0. Santana walking the ground out in this game. 2-0 the count. And that is outside. 3-0 on Santana. Santana has been the DH in this series. Johnson played first base last night. Jerry Sands is playing there tonight. And the word is they want Santana to work a little bit harder on becoming a better defensive first baseman. He, of course, has caught. He has played some third. Now they have him settled in at first. Here's the 3-0, and it's low, ball 4. So that'll put 2 men on. And Shepard now with the game break. Ooh, he's moving in on 500.
Yes, indeed. He's going to get there this year for sure.
I love those little league inside the park home runs.
They are fun to watch. They are fun to watch, especially when you watch them in the big leagues.
Here's Chisenhall. 2 on and 2 out. First hit of the ball game off the bat of Michael Brantley, a 2-out double here in the 6th. First hit for Cleveland, that is. Chisenhall, a strikeout and a flyout. Popped up, but this will get back out of play. 0-2 on Lonnie Chisenhall. Chisenhall was playing third base this year. They called up Giovanni Urshela. Chisenhall was sent back down to AAA, and he was actually the one that initiated perhaps playing some outfield. He asked his AAA manager about giving me a shot in the outfield, and they had really come to learn very quickly that he's got some skills out there.
Well, anytime you've played the position that he played, which was third base, you've got good feet. And once you go to the outfield, that's easy for you because your feet already work naturally for you. Now you just have to figure out how to gauge the fly balls off the right-handers' bats, the left-handers' bats.
Got in on his hands that time, and McCann hauls it in. He had Simon breathing down his neck. Indians strand a pair. We go to the bottom of the 6th. Alfredo Simon has done a job here tonight. He's kept the Indians off the board. It's 6-0 in favor of the Tigers as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. And Cleveland will bring in a new pitcher to face the first man here in the inning, James McCann.
Armstrong is the new pitcher. Armstrong has a big arm. He's got a fastball that gets all the way up to 95 miles an hour, and that's the majority of what he throws, fastballs and cutters, in the limited time that he's been in the big leagues.
Sean Armstrong facing McCann, Romine, and Rajai Davis as we head to the bottom of the 6th. And the first one is in for a strike on McCann. Good night tonight for James. Couple of hits and RBI.
He's also done a very nice job of leading Alfredo Simon. Simon's only given up 1 hit in the game.
Here's the 0-1. A lot of times that's the part of a catcher's game that we seem to overlook, especially when a guy's having a good night on the mound.
Right.
Ability to lead that pitcher and work together, and McCann getting better and better at that as this season goes on.
And very few times has Alfredo had to shake off James here tonight.
Swing and a miss, and Armstrong took care of him on 3 pitches. 1 gone. The Red Wings 2015 Hockey Fest returns to the Joe Louis Arena Sunday, September 13th. Enjoy an unforgettable day of hockey-related activities, including a chance to meet current players and Red Wings alumni. For Hockey Fest tickets, call 313-471-7575 or visit DetroitRedWings.com. Now Romine. Bouncing ball towards second base. Kipnis on the backhand. 2 gone.
Let's take a look at the big boys, big plays of the game on both sides of the ball for Rajai Davis tonight. Made a real nice play, and that kept the no-hitter intact for Alfredo Simon. And then he had a triple over the head of Almonte in center field, who has literally ran down everything, and it took Rajai Davis 11.25 seconds to go from home to third. Not many in the game get there faster than Rajai on triples.
He is 1 for 3 in the ball game. That 3-bagger drove in a run in the 4th. It was the biggest inning for the Tigers tonight. They scored 3 times in the 4th inning.
So far, all fastballs thrown by Armstrong. 3 at 94 and a cutter at 91.
Little chopper to second base. Kipnis has that one as well. You better hurry. Rajai almost beat it out. 1-2-3 inning. Let's go to the 7th. Pretty dominant night.
Yep.
Jerry Sands will start things off in the 7th. Sands 0 for 2. Drove one deep to left center field and was robbed on a diving catch back in the 4th inning. The 0-1 pitch. Breaking ball missing in. 1 ball, 1 strike. So Simon now has crossed the 100 plateau. Threw a lot of pitches early, which kind of jumped his pitch count up a little bit. Sands again off balance there. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Phillies still warming in the Detroit bullpen. It'll bounce in. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Almonte on deck. Indians have really threatened only in 1 inning, and that was the 6th when they put 2 men on with 2 out, but Chisenhall popped up. Bouncing ball foul, third base side.
That was a hanging breaking ball there for Jerry Sands to jump all over, but he was a little bit too quick on it.
Sands with 3 stints with the big club this year. He's played with the Rays and the Dodgers. Three and 2. Series finale coming up tomorrow. Then the Rays will come in. It'll be a 3-game series. Soft little looper into shallow left field. That'll drop in, a base hit. Sands with a leadoff single here in the 7th. Bring up Almonte. 106 now the pitch count.
Yeah, Alfredo has thrown as much as 116 in a game this year.
Almonte's put the ball on the ground twice. How about another one here? Driven foul, back out of play on 1.
Yeah, Alfredo's still throwing hard. That last fastball at 94.
Michael Bourne has moved on as he was traded at the deadline. Meanwhile, they got Almonte from San Diego. You see the action there in the Indians bullpen. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Fouled off. 0-2 now on Abraham Almonte.
.108 pitches in. Alfredo Simon has thrown 41% fastballs. The other 59% a mixture of slow curves, splitters, sliders, and everything else.
Simon has done a really good job of keeping this Indians offense off balance. It was an offense that last night put up 11 hits and 8 runs. Bouncing ball foul. 0-2 the count stays on Almonte. Catcher Perez waiting on deck, the number 8 hitter. Sands a bloop single to get things started here in the 7th. Only the 2nd hit allowed. The Indians did not get their first hit until there were 2 outs in the 6th. Yes, he went around, said the home plate umpire Hunter Wendelstedt, and Almonte can't believe it. 1 away. Let's check in with Johnny Kane now, who has a pretty good story on the Avila family. Johnny.
Yeah, we got a family affair here over the holiday weekend at Comerica Park. We have 3 generations of Avilas in attendance. Ralph Avila, of course, the newly named general manager, Al Avila, and the catcher, Alex Avila. We know Ralph Avila, he's the one who got this whole thing started. Longtime international scout for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Going back to 1970, scouted hard the Dominican Republic, and a lot of what he passed on was down to Al, and what Al has now passed on to Alex. So pretty cool to have all 3 here in attendance. I believe it's the first time Ralph's been here since Al was named the GM. Guys?
All right, Johnny, thank you very much. That is driven down the right field line. It's going to be a foul ball that bounced back into the seats. Well, the Avila family certainly long on baseball history. We've talked about Ralph quite a bit. Of course, Al now is the general manager of the Tigers.
He also has a young son by the name of Alan, who I've seen at the ballpark quite often with Dad. So I'm sure that Alan might be following in the same footsteps as the dad in the front office, because obviously Alex is playing on the field.
It's family business.
Why not, man?
Meanwhile, the count is 0-1 on Perez, who very nearly drilled a double down the right field line, but it just went foul. He is 0 for 2, strikeout, ground out. Chopper left side of the infield. Castellanos to second. They get one. Relay. That's a double play.
What a turn by Ian Kinsler, staying in there as Sands barreled in on him.
Nothing doing for the Indians here in the 7th. We'll go to the stretch. Our score, and one of the big reasons, Rod, certainly Alfredo Simon in this game, he was coming off a couple of starts that really, well, quite honestly, were very good, but really good stuff tonight.
Effectively wild here this evening. We showed a clip there of Simon, fastballs up, breaking balls down, real nice splitters at the bottom of the strike zone. Has really kept this Indians team off balance. Indians have been a good offensive team second half of the year.
You know what else is good to see is the Tigers offense perk up a little bit tonight. Rajay Davis making really good use of his playing tonight, really with the bat and the glove.
No disrespect to Josh Tomlin in last night's game, but I think they were embarrassed by the way they swung the bats in last night's game. They came out and played with much more energy here this evening, and we've well documented the fact that Rajay Davis, they kind of feed off of him when he's in that starting lineup.
You know, J.D. Martinez with a home run. Tyler Collins continues to swing the bat really well. So when you look at what has transpired here in this ballgame tonight, our summary features Salazar, who, Rod, continues just to have his struggles despite good stuff against the Tigers.
Well, once he learns how to mix his pitches up, his breaking balls a little earlier in games against the Tigers, he will have some good outings against them. His stuff is way too good for them to beat up on him the way that he's been able to beat up on him.
So we've got a new pitcher now, and that'll be Gavin Floyd, the veteran, checking in for the Indians.
The Gavin Floyd?
The Gavin Floyd.
How about that? Gavin Floyd used to be a guy that had fastball that went all the way 95, 97. Tigers fans remember him from when he was wearing that Chicago White Sox uniform.
Kinsler very nearly had a double down the line there. So Floyd takes over for Armstrong. They've also used Soto and Manship out of the bullpen tonight. Floyd had been out of the game, well, at least out of the majors, for over a year. High towering fly ball. Stay in the ballpark. Brantley in left. 1 out. Well, support breast health awareness and Pick Out the Park on September 18th. The Tigers hosting the Royals at 7:08 p.m. Get a ticket plus a special Pick Out the Park t-shirt by purchasing at tigers.com/pickout.
Gavin Floyd used to present some problems for Tigers batters. He had that fastball that I mentioned that was anywhere from 95 to 97 miles an hour. Then he had that real nice curveball, that neat buckling breaking ball that he featured. And he threw them both out of the same window.
He was activated off the 60-day DL on September the 1st. A fractured right elbow. Here's the 1-0 to Cabrera, who looks at a strike.
There's that bender at 82 miles an hour thrown by Gavin.
Alex Wilson warming up in the bullpen. That is grounded foul. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Miguel. Miggy tonight is hitless. He does have a walk and a run scored, though. High fly ball, right field. Chisenhall is under it. 2 up, 2 down. Gavin Floyd had a stretch there with the White Sox in which he was pretty good. He was a 17-game winner back in 08 and reached double digits 5 straight years, but the elbow problems have derailed him.
Had good stuff.
Now here is JD. Martinez has a homer sandwiched around a couple of strikeouts tonight. 2-run shot back in the 3rd was his 35th of the year.
You think he'll take those 2 strikeouts to go along with that homer?
Every single night. Because if he does that the rest of the way, he'd end up with about 70, 80 homers.
Forget about the 200 strikeouts.
Who cares about that, man? I hit 80 bombs. Oh, they just hit him. Martinez in some pain right now. Kevin Rand will come out and take a look at him. Left elbow.
I've been hit in that exact same spot where JD Martinez was hit, and JD does not have a protective device on that elbow, and it got him right above the elbow, not on the elbow, but it hurts. I mean, you're trying to get the feeling in your fingertips, and it's just the worst pain you can imagine. Right above the elbow. Back in the old day, they used to bring out the cold spray and you know, freeze it.
Yeah, how'd that work? The old ethyl chloride that Bill Beam used to bring out.
Yeah, and Pio DeSalvo.
So JD will take his base. They'll bring up Victor Martinez. 2-out base runner for the Tigers. A healthy 6-0 lead for Detroit here in the 7th. They've out-hit the Indians tonight 10-2. still hurting J.D. Martinez.
And that's going to hurt until he's able to get some ice on it after the game.
Single and 3 at bats for Victor. Here's the ball low, 1-0.
Gavin still has pretty good velo. That fastball at 93.
Floyd went to the Braves after he left the White Sox. Didn't pitch much with them because of the injury. It's driven to left field and a base hit the other way.
Victor's had a couple of nice at-bats today. Last day in Kansas City, had a couple of nice at-bats as well. It's good to see Victor barreling the ball up from the left side. Both of his hits today have gone to left field. That's a perfect swing there.
That'll give the Tigers a pair of 2-out runners. It brings up Castellanos.
You know, when you start talking about balance throughout a swing, this is the perfect example of good balance. You can take a line and draw it right down the middle of Victor's body here. I mean, from the bill of the cap all the way to the ground. That's a definition of having really good balance throughout your swing.
Castellanos takes ball 1. Nick, a single and 3 at bats, a run scored as well, average at 251. Two and 0 the count.
Here's where Castellanos is starting to mature as a hitter. Knowing in this particular situation, 2 balls and no strikes, predictable fastball count. And this is where Castellanos has done the majority of his damage this year. Looking to hit a ball in the gap somewhere.
Floyd nowhere near the plate, 3-0.
Yeah, probably a little bit too late in this game to swing 3-0. You're up by 6. 2 outs, bottom half of the 7th inning.
Tyler Collins on deck. And he'll take a strike. 3-1 on Nick. Floyd's first year in the big leagues was 2004 when he was just 21 years old. He broke in with the Philadelphia Phillies. Former first-round pick of the Phils in 01. Swing and a miss, 3-2.
Was he in the big leagues in 2005 with the White Sox?
In 2005, he was still with the Phillies.
Still with the Phillies?
Didn't get to the Sox until 07. So he was not part of that World Series team that the Sox had. Here's the 3-2 with the runners going, and a ground ball to short. Lindor diving play, comes up throwing and is picked at first in time. A bang play at first base. We'll see if the Tigers want a challenge here. And it looks like they waved it off. So that'll end the inning on another sprawling play by Lindor. Tigers have a 6-0 lead tonight as we go to the top of the 8th here at the ballpark. And as promised earlier in the game, we have selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. Tweet your strongest fan photo to hashtag Detroit Data Strong Fan for a chance to have it featured in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. And now Alex Wilson will come on to do some pitching for the Tigers as we go to the 8th.
And Wilson has done a very nice job this year out of the Tigers bullpen. He is pitching in his 51st game. He has 5 holds, a 2.31 ERA, a whip that sits just a shade over 1, and 36 strikeouts, 11 walks. Alex pitches to quite a bit of contact.
Meanwhile, J.D. Martinez just now getting out to right field. I'm sure had that elbow wrapped up a little bit or looked at.
Yeah, probably had it wrapped up, put a compressor on there to keep the swelling down.
So we go to the 8th, and it'll be the number 9 hitter, Giovanni Urshela, to lead things off. Then Kipnis, then Lindor. Well, now it's not Urshela. We'll get a pinch hitter instead. Martinez will pinch hit. He slaps one to left field, and it's going to drop. Base hit.
And Wilson's got a fastball that tops out at about 92 miles an hour. Also throws a slider, cutter.
Pinch hit single to lead things off here in the 8th now, Jason Kipnis. 0 for 2 for Kipnis with a walk. Average now at 312. Ball 1. Kipnis came in among the league leaders in hitting entering play tonight. He was 6th. Here's the 1-0. It's in there. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Kipnis made an all-star team in 2013. He tried to play through some injuries in last year, 2014. Didn't go very well for him. Healthy once again this year, and he made another all-star team.
He'll spray that one foul back out of play. Well, for a while when Cabrera was on the DL and wasn't eligible to be among the league leaders, it was Kipnis and Brantley that were battling for the top spot among hitters in the American League.
Yeah.
Indians haven't had a batting champ since '54 when Bobby Avila won the title. It's been a while for them.
It has been a minute.
Lindor waiting on deck.
He might have a batting title in his future.
Wilson with the 1-2, and he got him. Strike 3. Kipnis, not a fan of that call, but he's out of there. First strikeout for Wilson.
And Kipnis thought that slider was up.
Here's Lindor. He pulls that one on the ground to second and right through Kinsler.
Taylor made double play.
Martinez will hold at second base. That had 463 written all over it.
Man, you do not see that very often on balls hit to second base. Not at Ian Kinsler. You can tell that look of disgust on his face. Ball hit hard, but right at Ian.
That'll put 2 men on now. The first error of the ball game for the Tigers. Here's Michael Brantley. He'll rip that one to first. Snap throw to second, and there's your double play.
Do it, Miggy.
What a great play by Cabrera.
Do it, Miggy.
He threw across his body to second base. Get the twig killing.
Little athleticism from the big fella. plays. You just saw one. We'll show it to you again. But Rajay Davis, he's been running all over the outfield, diving, sprawling catch there, and then went to the center field wall to make another catch. And then this nice play to end that last half inning by Miguel Cabrera, jumping, leaping, and then throwing all in one motion to Andrew Romine to complete the double play.
It's been a good night all around for the Tigers tonight. They bring a 6-0 lead into the bottom of the 8th.
They look like a different squad tonight.
Much different, a little more energy. Some offense will make you perk up a little bit. Tigers jumped all over Salazar early in this game. They knocked him out in the 4th inning, his shortest outing of the year. As Michael Martinez remains in the game to play third. Collins, awkward swing there, 1-1. Homer and a single in this game for Tyler Collins. Little bounce in.
Old-fashioned delivery. And for Gavin Floyd, not many guys start at their waist and go over the head, come back down. Most guys nowadays have kind of simplified their deliveries, but not Floyd. Still the old-fashioned delivery.
It's a good point, because it seems like everybody's now adopting that David Price type of delivery to the plate, where it's just basically a slide step and bring it home.
Yeah, Giordano Ventura, same way.
Al Newhouser.
Old school there.
He had a really old school lineup. 3-2.
Look at the high net ball, too. Legs over his head.
Would you like to hit against him?
No.
There's the 3-2 pitch. Down the left field line, slicing away, and caught on the run. Brantley, nice play, one gone. Looked like Collins might get his 3rd hit.
He was making a bid for it.
Now James McCann.
Smooth operator, that's what they call Michael Brantley.
Everything he does is smooth.
Walk is smooth.
Here's McCann, who's 2 out of 3. 2 singles and a strikeout. What they used to call you on the field. Do you have any nicknames?
I had quite a few names.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I had a couple names.
Any you'd like to share with us?
Well, I told you the one that Nick Swisher's dad used to call me the Mule.
Oh, the Mule, yeah.
Right. In AAA that year, I think I drove in 92 runs for him one year. Then I drove in 100 the next year for him. And he told me I always brought the mail home. So he called me the Mule. A lot of guys call me Rocket Rod.
Yeah, that's a good one.
In Japan, it was Rocketto. That's what they called me over there. It was, I'm being honest.
Nobody called you guy who chases pitcher to the wall?
No, they never did that. They never did that. So I had a couple nicknames.
Raqueto.
Dave Clark used to call me Shaker.
Do we want to know why?
I don't know why he did that. I don't know if I was shaking in the batter's box or what.
Nice play there by Martinez, who throws him out. 2 gone. Hey, follow the Tigers all season in 2015 with MLB.com at Bet, the #1 app for live baseball. And Bet is up to the moments at any moment with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcast, and more. Get MLB.com at Bet on your smartphone or tablet.
How about you? Any nicknames that stuck when you were growing up?
Well, Super Mario, I guess, is the one. And Gibby and I have been through this. He's trying to stick a nickname on me.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, he had a campaign going. And
none of them stuck?
No, none of them stuck. I'm not the nickname type of guy, you know. I mean,
right.
Just for whatever reason. But Super Mario is the easiest. Todd Jones used to call me that, the former Tigers closer. Here's a ball low, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, Joe Madden calls you what, Menudo?
No.
What, Marto? What is it? He said something. What is it?
No, I don't have any musical talent, so it's not Menudo.
Well, what does he call you?
Maru.
Well, something.
But, yeah,
like
that was. He knew a kid named Maru, and so he kind of stuck that one out. Let's see.
I remember the first time we went to saw Joe Madden, he said that. Well, who's he talking to?
Here's the 1-2 pitch. That's low. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Romine. Romine with a fielder's choice. He reached and scored a run in the fourth, the only time he's been on tonight. Now the 2-2 just off the plate. Floyd thought he had a strikeout. 3-2. Action in the Tigers bullpen. Bruce Rondon warming up. Not a save situation, but Bruce will get an inning. The 3-2 lifted back out of play.
Dixon Machado did a real nice job in last night's game. Made a real nice diving play, getting his first taste of action since being called up from the minor leagues. Also doubled and scored a run. But Romine got to start here this evening against Salazar.
Romine's going to get himself a walk here with 2 outs in the 8th. 2-out runner for the Tigers, which will give Davis another opportunity. There's Dixon.
Romine told the story when he first put on a Tigers uniform how he idolized Omar Vizquel growing up. He said his dad Kevin, every time that the Indians would go to play in California against the Angels, he would take him to the game and he would force him into watching Omar Vizquel all through batting practice, watch him take ground balls, and Romine developed a real nice affection for Mr. Vizquel because of that. And then when Romine was in AAA a couple of years ago, before the Tigers got him, Vizquel was his coach, a roving infielding coach for the Angels before he took the job with the Tigers.
Line to left field. Brantley goes over to the gap to make the play, and that'll end the inning. No runs, a walk, 1 man left. To the 9th we go.
Miguel Cabrera has the most fun in the game, but the players absolutely love watching Bartolo Colon. They love watching him.
Well, he loves to play the game as well.
He wasn't even supposed to start. Syndergaard was supposed to get that start tonight.
Here is Bruce Rondon to take over now out of the Detroit bullpen. 3 outs away from a Tigers victory.
Terry Collins, the manager of the New York Metropolitans, a Michigan native, having a really good season.
Good for Terry out of Midland, Michigan. And EMU is a star player there.
He's going to get a lot of votes for a manager of the year this year for the job that he has done in New York. They had no offense really all year.
Yeah, he should. There's no doubt.
You see Cespedes has 11 home runs already with the Mets.
I saw that. His 11th last night, I think. It's fouled straight back. 0-2 on Santana.
And big arm for Bruce Rondon. He's got a fastball that can get all the way up to 102. He's got a slider. He's got a changeup.
A couple of walks tonight for Santana. That's no surprise. He's usually among the best in that category. Ball high, 1-2. Here's how they play him defensively. Castellanos ranging over from third base. Two balls, two strikes. Lonnie Chisenhall waiting on deck. Santana trying to extend his hitting streak. It's an 11-gamer right now, but it's on the line. 2 walks and a ground out. Here's the 2-2. 3-2 on Santana. Rondon takes over for Wilson, who threw a scoreless 8th. Alfredo Simon was a star tonight. He went 7 scoreless, had a no-hitter for much of the night until he gave up a 2-out single in the 6th. Swing and a miss. Santana goes fishing.
96 with that tailing fastball thrown by Rondon. The dust, Santana.
Let's check in with Johnny Kane with a preview of tonight's Tigers Live.
All right, guys, coming up on a post-game edition of Tigers Live, we'll talk to J.D. Martinez, who had that stinging 2-run shot before being stung in his last at-bat. Also talk to Tyler Collins, hit his 3rd on of the season. And also, how about the pitching performance that we saw there by the Big Pasta? We'll catch up with him, being at the manager's press conference as well. Matt Shepard and Craig Monroe holding it down back in the Coliseum studios per usual. Should be a fun night, boys.
Hey, Johnny, you got any nicknames that you've had throughout your career?
Not really, but you forgot one because remember Gibby was calling you Mario Speedwagon.
Oh,
so
you had to
bring
bring
it
that
back up. Man.
Mario Speedwagon. Yes, indeed.
Just thought I'd let you know.
It's the last time I tried and punk Johnny
Kane. He wasn't biting. He threw it back at you.
Yeah, right in my face,
yeah,
too.
he did.
Here's Chisenhall. Here's the ball outside, and the count goes 1-1 on Lonnie Chisenhall. Strikeout, flyout, pop-up. Rondon ready with the 1-1. Little chopper foul down the first base line. Only 3 hits allowed tonight by Tigers pitching. That is it. Brantley had the double in the 6th to break up the no-hitter. Then a couple of singles, one by Sands, one by the pinch hitter Martinez. That's all they've had. That's a foul straight back. 1-2. The count stays on Chisenhall.
Yeah, Chisenhall got himself a hanging breaking ball there from Rondon at 85, and he missed it. Now he's got to try to hit that fastball. That's going to be about 97, maybe 98, if that's the pitch they decide to go with. Then again, it might be one of those nights because they've got such a big lead that Rondon wants to work on some of his pitches. Cam was adamant about the fastball. He's not happy about this call right here.
High fly ball, center field shallow. It'll be Rajay Davis to make the catch.
It turned out that Rondon made the right pitch.
Worked out in the end.
Yeah, it did. Did you see how adamant though McCann was with that finger though?
1.
He went 1 in, 1 out, 1 in, 1 out. Rondon said, no, I want to throw the slider.
So here is Jerry Sands, the last chance for the Indians tonight as the crowd comes to its feet. Driven back out of play 0-1. Sands is 1 for 3, singled in the 7th. Later he raced on a double play. Had a sure double taken away and a diving catch in center field by Davis. And fastball rides in. 1 ball, 1 strike. Same 2 teams tomorrow to wrap up the series. Day baseball here at the ballpark, and then the Tampa Bay Rays come in for 3. Bouncing ball left side. Out of hop. Castellanos. That's a Tigers winner. In the 9th inning, they go 1-2-3 against Bruce Rondon.
This is by far the best all-around game the Tigers have played in a couple of weeks.
No doubt. Simon was awesome. Tigers hit a couple long balls, totaled it all up. 6-0. We'll be back.
Yes, way. All right, sweet.